Welcome to the Gambling Gauchos. I'm Rob Bro. He's Kyle Jacobson. He's Money Mainville. We're joined tonight by the only man in college football history who's thrown for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 touchdowns in a single game. I really haven't checked that yet, but it's if it's not Klingler or Case Keenum, it's got to be BJ. BJ Symons, class of 2025 Texas Tech Hall of Fame. Coming up, we're excited. Is that the BYU game?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
BYU weekend. Yep.
Very exciting.
And just say 8 in a Big 12, you'll be safe.
We're gonna celebrate BJ Symons. We're gonna celebrate America against BYU. And BYU has all blue uniforms that weekend. I think Texas Tech should wear red, white, red. We could look like the American flag out there.
Red, white, red.
Hey, BJ,
I don't know.
BJ, if they give you any scoop on what the uniform is going to be that week, we're going to need you to feed us some inside source intel on that.
Okay, how far in advance do you want that?
As long as it's before the uniform reveal. We don't need any updates on injury reports or opening script. We just want to know what the uniforms are going to be for that game.
Okay. See what I can do.
I also think Mahomes will be in attendance, so it might be another gladiator uniform.
Can you just say according to sources, though?
Yeah. Okay. Obviously, hey, we're Big J journalists. We're not going to out our sources here. This is a professional operation, BJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll erase this footage and then in the future just say sources. All right, welcome back to YouTube. Welcome back to Twitter. It's football season. We're all the way back. We'll still be on patreon.com for our mailbag, patreon.com/gambling gouges. You can join us there for Kyle's write-ups, Money's write-ups. BJ is there, but lurking as we join you for another annual college football preseason preview. BJ Symons joined us in our third episode ever to do a college football preview. That was in 2021. And we've since done it in 22, 23, 24, and now 25. BJ's joined us in a number of other scenarios, a couple of bowl previews, some bowl pick'ems. So he knows ball, and let's rip. We'll get right into it, picking some conference champions. First of all, let's just go broad in the G5. You don't have to give me a G5 champion from everywhere, but let's give us one team that might make the playoff as the 12 seed. Kyle, you want to start there?
Sure, I'll go with Liberty. They're one of two G5 teams that have shorter than even odds to win their own conference, the other being Boise State in the Mountain West. I feel like Conference USA, not as deep, not quite as good, so they're probably more likely to make it through unscathed. Boise State may be favored head-to-head on a neutral field, but it seems more likely that Liberty winds up either with no losses or just one loss and positions himself to be the G5 team in the playoff there. Now, I made that pick without looking at either of their non-con schedules to see if they've got a potentially tricky game against a Power 4 opponent. But just gut feel is that Liberty is more likely to get all the way through the Conference USA schedule unscathed. And if that's the case, I think they'll be good odds to be the highest-ranked Group of 5 team when it's all said and done.
Money, what do you think?
I took UNLV. Got Dan Mullen in town. Michigan transfer at quarterback. I think they play UCLA early in the season. Outside of that, that schedule is manageable. So give me UNLV.
All right, go ahead, BJ.
You want me to go? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Florida. I know it's. I'm sorry. Am I supposed to pick a non-P4 here?
Yeah, non P4. We go G5.
Okay.
G6,
Okay.
whatever it is.
G5. Okay. I'll say Boise. I know they might be already probably have odds to make the postseason based off the top 12 teams with odds, but I'll say Boise State. Safe pick. Sorry.
Ashton Jante walking through that door there, BJ. Oh, let's see. I like Tulane out of the American. I'm going to fade Boise State just because they did it last year, and I'd like to see somebody new. UNLV does not have the go-go offense anymore. He's off in California somewhere, Brennan Marion, getting a head coaching job. But we do have the Dak Prescott offense for that quarterback, so maybe he gets it going. I like Tulane and Memphis. I like North Texas offense, obviously. Give me Tulane, the Green Wave out of the American, to win the American and make the playoff.
We have a comment, no one picking FAU. And Rob, I know you were flirting with La Tech. Actually, La Tech third shortest odds in Conference USA, so they may be somewhat contenders in there. But those are certainly two teams to follow with Kitley and Cumbie, respectively. I don't know how likely either one is to make a push for the playoff, but it's fun that you have a sort of extended coaching tree of alumni that you can follow to make some of these G5 matchups a little more interesting.
UNT, their quarterback looked like a dog in their bowl game last season.
Is he back? Always get confused on who's back or not, especially at the G5 level.
Chandler Morris? He's at Virginia.
Yeah. So
He has eligibility left?
I think so.
Yeah.
This is fourth school? OU, TCU, North Texas, and Virginia?
Yeah, but he got to sit out a year because Lincoln didn't want him to go to TCU. So he got that year back.
Oh, okay.
College football, baby. If only BJ had like 7 years and extra eligibility. All right, let's go to the Power Four. But first, let's take a pit stop. Oregon State and Washington State both playing each other home and home in 2025. I think Oregon State has a tougher schedule. Obviously, they're on the Texas Tech schedule. So let's go ahead and pick, flip a coin, Pac-12, Oregon State, Washington State. We'll keep the same order, Kyle.
I was hand up. I was putting a question in the mailbag while you said that. So, could you repeat the question, please?
Pac-12, Oregon State, Washington State. I'm not going to say the whole thing again.
They're the only two teams in that conference?
They play home and home, and they're the only two teams in the conference again, yes.
Did you say they play home and home?
2025, home and home. Yeah, baby.
They play twice this year.
If they split, they'll play a third.
I was going to say, if they go 1-1, who wins the – I've never understood that about the what do they call it, the President's Cup? Like, what if Air Force beats Navy, Navy beats Army, and Army beats Air Force? And, like, who wins? Anyway.
I guess we'll go to point totals.
Give me – I got to go with the Beavers.
20?
Yeah, I'll go with Oregon State as well. Malik Murray at quarterback. David Pollock did like a Pac-12 power ranking graphic the other day, and it was just those two teams on it, and it was pretty hilarious to see. But yeah, I like the Beavers there.
We're gonna kill them, by the way.
I agree.
I'm gonna go Wazoo. I know they lost their quarterback, the gambler guy. I guess I guess he's like, I've always wondered, because I use Venmo, and I like, you'll pay someone and you'll see, like, it's the weirdest thing how you can just see who people get money from and pay. like who are these people that just allow people to see who they're getting money from and sending money to? And I guess he was one of those. But anyway, yeah, they lost the quarterback. But I'm gonna, just to be opposite of the others, I'll go Wazoo.
Hey, BJ, I have a follow-up question on that. You're a pretty I don't want to say you're like a big gambler. I'm not trying to like paint you as a gambling addict on here, but you enjoy sports betting.
Yeah, I dabble. Yeah.
Yeah, you dabble. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever used the term sports gambling before?
Have not. No.
I feel like it's either gambling, like if you're at the table, or it's sports betting. I've never heard anybody say like, "Oh, me and the boys are gonna do some sports gambling this weekend." And so the fact that that was like the label for his Venmo payment actually makes me think he's innocent because I'm like, no sports bettor is gonna
So, like,
call it.
maybe you
sports
can buy the inside joke thing?
gambling. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I bought it until old Moneyline Mateer was like USC, UCLA, October 22nd. It was like, okay, that's a little too far there, Mateer. I'll take Oregon State too. They also play Houston in their non-con, so a couple of Big 12 teams getting a shot at Oregon State. They also play Oregon. So it'll be a much tougher road for Oregon State, but they've got Malik Murphy. They've got a pretty good running back. I hope to at least have him put up a fight in the first half against Texas Tech to get a little edge before the road trip to Utah.
I think in this ever-evolving landscape of college athletics and conference realignment, I think Houston would actually be a good candidate for Pac-2 expansion if they wanted to get into the Texas market. It could be Wazoo, Oregon State, and Houston in the Pac-3.
I think they have Texas State on the hook, but if it was Houston State, they might be in business because I think every team now in the new Pac-12 has a state at the end. Washington State, Colorado State, Texas State, Boise State, Oregon State, and then like Gonzaga.
Yeah, I think they could change their name, Houston State.
Yeah, I'm in. Let's get that going.
Might as well pull in Utah State. I don't know.
I think they have Utah State. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just hands off ASU.
I wouldn't want to lose Houston. I understand what you're saying there, Kyle. But if they had to do it, then I would
Twist my arm.
we would hate to lose Houston out of the Big 12. But if it
No, we
had
can't let that happen.
No, we cannot let that happen. We got to hold on.
Although, according to John Canzano, we could just backfill with Rice, and then we would still capture the Houston market. So,
Yes.
There may be a workaround there.
Well,
Because, Rice brings in so many viewers on college football Saturday.
Get all those MBAs tuning in.
What'd you think about Canzano picking Texas Tech at like 12th in his AP vote?
Sweet.
Oh, no, it was Wilner.
Yeah, John Wilner. Yeah. I'm
Same
cool
guy.
with it.
Same guy. All right, let's go to the Big Ten. Obviously, Big Ten Rob is going to start with Big Ten. Kyle, out of the Big Ten, you going chalk or off the board here? Because I think it's fairly obvious who the chalk team is.
Let's see here. Let me pull up the Big Ten on my handy-dandy sports gambling app. That's the Big 12.
Put the order in advance because it's not alphabetical.
So,
Sorry.
as the kids say, I kept the receipts. And last year, I picked a dark horse, Heisman dark horse, Drew Aller. Just sprinkled a little bit like my fourth Heisman pick. And BJ Symons said, quote, "He sucks." So they're sitting there at plus 230, second shortest odds. I kind of want to pick them. And obviously James Franklin, a great big game head coach. Like if they were in a matchup late in the season and it's like 2 9-1 teams, you obviously trust James Franklin in that spot. So, a big game head coach, a really good quarterback. Kind of want to pick the Nittany Lions. You got Nebraska, Matt Rule. I don't know. Let's see here. Give me the Minnesota Golden Gophers at 100-1. This is PJ Fleck's year. They're rowing the boat up there in Minneapolis or wherever that university is. I think this is their year. Go Gophers.
Lock that in.
Guys.
Okay. Money Manuel does take the favorites in Ohio State. BJ?
I guess I need to defend myself. I still don't think I'm not a big fan of all. I mean, their running backs attack last year kind of carried that team. The tight end, they just threw to him every play, Warren. And then a few big plays here and there. Kyle, I think he's improved. And I guess he's like getting pretty highly ranked from a draft perspective. I don't have a list, but off the top of my head, it's like what Arch and I don't know. I don't see it, but for that reason, I'm going to stay away from Penn State. It wouldn't be. I don't think I could take them after what Kyle just said about me and Aller, and I didn't plan on it anyway. I'm not going to take Ohio State. I still think there's uncertainty there with their quarterback position, although that's not uncommon with today's college football. I'm going to go with the same team I went with last year, which was the Oregon Ducks, who I think they beat Ohio State in the regular season and then lose it, or they played them twice and then lost in the Big Ten, or was it vice versa?
No, they beat them in the regular season,
and then
they
lost
beat Penn State in the Big Ten championship, and then they lost to Ohio State in the
playoffs. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with the Ducks again
to repeat.
Hey, they're focused on likes and clicks, and we're focused on wins. All right.
Yeah, let's go some. What is it? Let's watch some more Gladiator 2 before a game. I do like their linebacker. I think he's back. Give me Penn State. Oh, y'all ran him down. Drew Aller doesn't need to complete balls to the wide receivers. Who cares? They've got some dynamic running backs. They have an incredible defense, as always. James Franklin can't win the big game until now. I think he got off the mat a little bit last year, late in the season, winning a couple of ranked games. So we'll see if he can do it. I'll tell you who's not going to win the Big Ten and might not make a bowl game. That bum Kurt Signetti. I hope they fall back to earth. All right. Let's go to the ACC. And back to Kyle.
A lot has been made about Dabo Swinney's fall off and is he washed? And if you look at it, their quote unquote down years are still 10 wins. I'm not sure I believe in Carson Beck at Miami. I think there's going to be a big fall off from Cam Ward's production and reliability to Carson Beck's. And then I really just don't see anybody else that to me it's Clemson by default. And I know that's a square pick and they're even odds based on what I'm looking at. But after Miami, everybody else is Louisville 7-1, SMU 9-1, Georgia Tech 12-1, and then just gets worse and worse from there. Maybe somebody's a big surprise this season, but to me, it's Clemson by default because I just don't think I fully trust Carson Beck at Miami.
Kyle, when you started with a lot of people say Dabo is washed, I thought you were going to jump back into he's washed by the blood of Jesus Christ.
He is.
Clemson Tigers. That's where you're going with that. So you picked Clemson there?
I picked Clemson.
Okay.
If Tyler Shuck was still at Louisville, I might lean that way, but it's going to be hard to replace that. So give me Clemson.
New Orleans Saints to go to the Super Bowl?
Oh, yeah.
Money.
Yeah, Taylor Clemson. I'm looking at ESPN Bet, and they're the only P4 conference champion with minus odds right now. So it's a lock to me.
I'm going to go outside the box here and go with the SMU Mustang. Keep it in home state. I wish I would come with a ton of analysis with that pick, on some type of like favorable schedule or, returning starters. But yeah, let's take a flyer on the Mustangs. I mean, they had a good year last year. See if they can keep it rolling again.
SMU certainly has a favorable schedule because they play in the ACC. But they do play both TCU and Baylor in the non-con. Both. I think one's at home and one's on the road. I don't remember which. I think SMU is at TCU after playing Baylor at home. Let's see. I picked Tulane out of the G5. I'm going to go way off the board in the ACC and pick Tulane's quarterback, Darian Mensah, who is a very smart quarterback. He's a genius. All right. Let's see that one. Tough crowd here. I do not like Manny Diaz at all, but I'm going to take the Duke Blue Devils to shock the world and win the ACC. The Duke Blue Devils. Like 1,000 to 1.
There's a 7-time Super Bowl winning head coach in the ACC, and nobody even mentioned his team.
No.
And they shouldn't have. I don't think they're going to do anything this year.
Yeah, they don't play for Super Bowls in college football.
It'll be interesting to see how they do, though. I mean, it'll be a fun follow, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. For the train wreck, yeah.
It definitely feels like a no in between outcome. Like either he has them surprisingly good because they're really well coached, or it's like a dumpster fire and he lasts 1 year.
Do they have a roster? I mean, I don't even know if they have a roster.
I have no clue.
I mean, they'll put somebody out there.
At the very least, he may have a defense. I don't know. You'd think that could be a strength of theirs, but who knows?
I think their quarterback is from like South Alabama, and then they have a true freshman. Their defense, the last I saw, was like 9 transfers. So we'll see. I know another team that has a bunch of transfers on defense. I hope it works out. All right, let's go to the SEC. It just means more, Kyle. Who's going to win the SEC?
Zero analysis here. I'll just go emotional hedge and say Texas. But kind of crazy how much Kalen DeBoer's stock has dropped after just 1 year, where they weren't bad. I know they lost to Vandy, but they were 9-3. And if you look at his overall resume as a head coach, I would still say pound for pound, he's probably one of the 5 or 10 best. So I'm not sleeping on Alabama. Georgia, of course, is there. They're going to be loaded with talent. I don't think any of the teams outside that top 3 are going to punch up. So I really don't know between Texas, Georgia, and Bama, but it'd be an easier pill to swallow if it's Georgia or Bama. So give me the emotional hedge with Texas, because if Texas wins, it probably means Arch is really good, and we can't have that. So I'm going to pick them and hope that I'm wrong.
Money.
Yeah, I'm not a lifelong Longhorns fan, so I can't attach my name to that pick, even though I think they probably are the consensus favorite. I'm going to go LSU. Garrett Nussmeier coming back to Baton Rouge. Defense looked better last year. I still think he's kind of in the same boat with me as Drew Aller is, and there's just – you see the flashes of raw talent, but there's still a lot of inconsistencies. But I like returning quarterbacks, so I'm going to go the Tigers.
Go Tiger.
I hate that Mainville picked before me because I had already pegged LSU, but I'm going to stick with it and tail that. And similar analysis from the quarterback standpoint. As a quarterback, I like, you're seeing a lot of these teams are just naming starters, right? Like Ohio State just named their starter. Who's the starter for Alabama? I know they lost Milroe, and they had a competition too, I think. Texas is in a good spot, obviously, with Arch, but I'm gonna go with LSU as well. Brian Kelly, I know, hasn't, LSU's He left Notre Dame to go to LSU. They expect championships. I'd say he's maybe underperformed expectations on what they were hoping they were getting, but yeah, let's go Tigers.
Not a joke, but did y'all see LSU tweet the video from practice? And the very first shot was the camera tower, and then they had to delete it because of the Notre Dame thing. Tough look there from the LSU.
Hey, can I get a rundown? Can I get a rundown real quick on what Brian Kelly has ever won in this sport?
You're not getting it from me.
Okay.
I
Is there
mean,
like is there a major bowl game or
no. He got hammered in the national championship a couple times.
like I know you can't play for a conference title at Notre Dame, but hasn't won one at LSU. Any major bowl wins that I'm forgetting?
He played in the ACC championship game in 2020, didn't he?
Yeah, I think they got creamed.
Clemson, yeah, I think so. Yeah, no, they've never won one, no.
Okay, I was just checking.
But Garrett Nussmeier is a popular Heisman pick. Spoiler alert. I'm also going to go Texas. The only chalk pick on my board, mostly because I don't like all the other coaches. And I don't really like Sark either, but I think he has a good offensive mind. And I, for one, am just excited to see the Mannings finally win one. All right. Let's go with the Big 12, the big finale. And we'll start with Kyle Jacobson.
The Big 12. This one's tough. You go to like every other conference, and even the SEC that has like three pretty equally good teams at the top. You know, the number starts with like +3 or +4. Then you go to ours, and at least on the Action app, I know the odds were different at Circa, BJ, but on the Action app, Kansas State's still 5.5 to 1. And then down from there, there's a couple teams close to like 6 to 1, 7 to 1, 8.5 to 1. It's not until you get to team 7 that it kind of drops off, and Iowa State goes to 11 to 1. And of course, as we know, last year's conference champion was picked 16th. They probably had the longest odds at the beginning of the year. So this is the hardest one to predict. And I'm a big believer that a lot of times in college football, the most talented team wins. That's not always the case. Texas was 1 or 2 in talent in this conference for a decade and didn't really win much with it. But like, there's a reason why Clemson lines up in the ACC and wins 90% of their games. Same with Alabama under Saban and Georgia under Kirby. There's not as much talent parity in college football as there is in, say, the NFL. And there's one team in the Big 12 that just has a noticeably large advantage when it comes to overall roster talent over everyone else in the conference, and that is Texas Tech. Now, nobody at Texas Tech, going back to my Brian Kelly argument, nobody at Texas Tech really has skins on the wall, in this sport anyway. But I think this is the breakthrough year. I think if you were ever going to do it, we should not look back if Texas Tech wins a conference and say, "Oh, that's crazy that a team with 3 times as many blue chip players as anyone else in the conference won the thing." And I do think that's how it will go. I think it'll be tough. I think there will be a lot of close games, a lot of parity top to bottom in this conference. But I do think at the end of the day, barring major injuries or something crazy like that, I do think Texas Tech will reign supreme. So give me the Red Raiders.
Money?
Yeah, Arizona State, Kansas State, and Texas Tech all tied for the best odds per ESPN bet. Also going to pick Tech. Losing Quentin Joyner hurts. This is a thought I've had throughout this week. I think it lowers your ceiling a little bit, but I don't think it bottoms out your floor. I think you have a good enough passing offense and a good enough duo of running backs in Dickey and Williams there to at least supplement what you thought you were going to have in the run game this year. Defense should be much improved. Really excited about the line of scrimmage this year. I'm a homer, but I'm going Red Raiders all the way.
Yeah, I think same thought. I'm not picking against my school, especially this year when the Big 12 is as wide open as it's ever been. I think I've made some of these homer picks with Tech in the past, and I'm not saying I didn't believe it, but everyone's always fired up in August in training camp. But like this year, it's different, right? It just feels different. So y'all are talking about odds. My local Houston bookie has ASU, K-State, Tech, and Utah all 5.5 to 1 at plus 550. Then you get Baylor plus 700, BYU 900, and then TCU plus 1,000. I actually think there's pretty good value if you're going to look at just a value pick in this conference. I think there's value on Iowa State at 11 to 1, but I'm not picking against Tech. So just in talking about the Red Raiders, I'm fired up about the new defensive coordinator. Excited to see what we've got on the defensive line. I'm going to be honest here. There's a lot of pressure on the quarterback. This is a big year for him. Nobody's been a bigger fan of Baron Morton than I have from the get-go. I mean, I was touting for Baron Morton to be the starter before Tyler Shuck even came to Tech. And then when Tyler Shuck came and became the starter and got hurt and the team was turned over to Donovan Smith, I was not happy with that decision. I still thought it should have been Baron Morton. Last year, I think he was off and on, and from all indication, there were some shoulder issues. I will say that there's a lot of pressure on them because we've stacked this roster, and basically didn't even look at bringing in a quarterback, with all the money that we've spent. So there's a lot of pressure on him, and I think he can handle it. Now, I hope he stays healthy. But if he doesn't, I'm confident in Will Hammond's ability to come in and play. It's not like he's going to be, coming in a situation where he's never had experience. He got a little bit of taste of some play last year, what started the bowl game, right? So I think the quarterback is going to determine how far this team goes, and if we can win a conference title and make the playoffs. But yeah, I'm picking Tech.
All right, we're about to have a clean sweep, but can I have a little help from you, Kyle?
Yep.
From 1914 through 2009, how many football seasons is that?
You said 1914 to 2009?
Yeah, I don't want to get it wrong with the
That'd be 96.
Through 96 seasons of football, how many 10-win seasons did Oklahoma State have?
3.
3 seasons. And then some guy named Boone Pickens, Boone Pickens, started swinging around wads of cash in the seasons following. So 2010 to 2024, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 10-win seasons of Mickey Mouse Big 12 championship and a Big 12 championship appearance in those following seasons. We're about in year 2 or 3 of our very own Boone Pickens, Cody Campbell slinging around some oil money. In the years past, in the Leach era, I thought Texas Tech was right there with the rest of the Big 12, aside from Texas and Oklahoma in spending. And then, in the Tuberville era, into the Cliff era, you kind of started sagging behind, and other Big 12 schools started spending more. You were recruiting at an 8th place level. You were finishing at an 8th place level. Matt Wells comes along, and now you get to Joey McGuire. And I think when you talk about history of Texas Tech, when you talk about the history of the program, and you say, well, they haven't done this in this many years, they haven't done that. Dwight Eisenhower was president at the last outright conference championship. You talk about the successful offenses, but the defenses haven't been there. Well, I'm here to tell you this is a brand new Texas Tech. It's a different program than it has been in years past. And I think you finally have a defense that has conference championship depth where you can go 1s and 2s in a lot of places. You just haven't had that. You've had some 1s at about 7 or 8 positions in good years for Texas Tech defenses over the last decade and a half. So we're going to go with Texas Tech in a clean sweep. As our buddy says in Friday Night Lights, ain't no curses. Ain't no curses. The T-Boone Pickens. It's about time Texas Tech started stealing some traditions from Oklahoma State. You know what I mean? All right. Let's move on. We'll do some Heismans here. Give me 4 or 5 Heisman picks there, Kyle.
Give me Drew Aller. Who else do I want? That was a joke. You don't have to type that in.
Okay, all right, my bad.
Sticking with
Minnesota,
the emotion.
I don't know what you're doing.
I don't know either. I picked Minnesota to win the Big Ten. Hey, I try to be a professional on here.
Okay.
But I can admit there was not a whole lot of show prep done before tonight. So, let's see who's going to win the Heisman. Give me Cade Klubnik 9-1. And then can I sprinkle a couple dark horses here?
Yeah.
Avery Johnson, I've got him 45-1.
Gross.
And give me Baron Morton 80-1.
All right, we'll go with 3, money. Give me a favorite.
Because
others.
for a favorite, I will go Garrett Nussmeier to back up my LSU prediction. I think Lenoris Sellers is like top 5, top 10 in actual odds. But I love that pick in terms of value. I still feel like I think he's at plus 1,600 right now. I'll sprinkle some there. And then I think, Jeremiah Smith as a non-QB option is really intriguing. I think that's part of why I think, regardless of who's starting at quarterback for Ohio State, that guy's going to be a huge safety blanket for that offense and should have a huge year. So it's like Nussmeier and Sellers as my quarterback picks, and then I'll go with Jeremiah Smith to get out of the usual Heisman winner.
And BJ?
Man, Mainville, I got to stop following you.
Mainville knows ball. We've been telling you.
Mainville's supposed to be talking about NCAA Final Four picks and not Heisman picks. So Kyle said 80-1. Okay, so let me start with I'll go with like on a shorter odd, but maybe some value. DJ Lagway.
Like that pick.
I'm gonna go with Kyle said 80-1 on Morton. I think I sent you guys my Baron Morton ticket from Vegas. When I got the little sheet from Circa, and I don't know when it was printed, but they had Morton at 200-1, which is tremendous value because if you look at I think Tech had like the 21st shortest odds for national title and even for playoffs, even less than that. But then Morton was like 70th on the Heisman. The Heisman is kind of a team award. Like meaning the team has to typically hit 9+ wins, for someone to win that award. So I thought there was tremendous value when you look at Tech being like plus 400 to make the playoffs at Circa, and then like Morton was plus 200 on the Heisman. So long shot, I'll go Morton. And then Jeremiah Smith was my other pick that Mainville stole, but I'll stick with it. Ohio State's got like new quarterbacks, but he's a stud and returning, and he might just have like 2,000 yards and a Crabtree type of season from a stats perspective. And if Ohio State like wins the Big Ten and has a really good season, then he'll be there in New York.
Hey Rob, can I change one of my picks?
Sure.
I had Morton at 80 to 1. I'd like to change that to Morton at 200 to 1.
I didn't write down odds, but
so in all seriousness, I ended up getting it at 150 to 1. And then I had a buddy that was like, "Hey, go get me one." Right when I said, "Hey, I just got my Morton for Heisman ticket," and he was like, "Hey, go throw $100 on it for me." And like 30 minutes later, when I went and got his ticket, it was 130 to 1.
oh, look at BJ moving lines.
So I was literally moving lines at Circa for the Heisman.
There was a tweet like a week ago. It was like a better has placed this much on Baron Morton, and I forgot what the odds were.
It was 200. I think it was 200 to 1. Yeah, or 400 to 1.
I wonder if he's like.
But it was at Caesars for that tweet you're talking about. It was a better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if anybody has gotten more like preseason steam in the last 10 days than Morton on those odds.
Well, he's been on the Unitas Award watch list and the Liberty Bowl watch list that the Mannings do, and he's been on all the lists. So you're just looking at those. All right, I'll take the favorite, Arch Manning, if nobody else is going to. I know voters. Voters like names. Another big name. Y'all talked about Jeremiah Smith. I think he's incredible. Probably the best or the second best wide receiver in the country behind Ryan Williams at Alabama. But Ohio State also has probably the third or fourth best wide receiver in the country, Carnell Tate. So give me Julian Sayin. I think the redshirt freshman Ohio State. He was just named the starter. I can't think of any Dragon Ball Z quotes because I've never seen it, but he's going to go Super Saiyan and win a Heisman. And then I'm going to take also a Jeremiah, but not a wide receiver. And I'm going to be the only one to take a running back. Give me Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame to get close to 2,000 yards. And if nobody is playing both corner and wide receiver and doing both at a high level, and he has a golden helmet instead of a blue and orange helmet, he'll win the Heisman. So give me Jeremiah Love as my value pick. All right. Any other predictions you guys want to make? You want to give us a couple of playoff teams? I know you liked Florida there, BJ.
I have a question. That I want to ask y'all. So what do you? So we talked about the parity in the Big 12, and like there's the top 4 teams having the same odds. Like, what do you think? We could easily see a situation almost like we had last year, where you've got 3, 4, 5 teams atop the conference with similar records. What record do y'all see winning the Big 12 this year?
I picked every single Big 12 game, 192 of them, I believe. Texas Tech, Baylor, and Kansas State were all 2-loss conference teams. I think Baylor technically was 9-3 with the loss to SMU, maybe. So I see 10-2 getting into the Big 12 championship. I think it worked out where Texas Tech and Baylor were in the Big 12 championship in my calculations.
So you think 2 losses makes the title game?
Yes.
In some form or fashion? Yeah.
I think there will be a tie. Maybe one team runs the table or is at 11-1. But I think at least 2 teams will be at 10-2 and getting tiebreakers into the finals. Yeah. I saw somebody today, I think it was from CBS Sports. I want to say it was that bum Tom Fernelli. If you're watching, Tom, you're a bum. He was like, there's no chance anybody in the Big 12 has more than 9 wins. No chance. Just like, all right.
I mean, even last year, there was basically a four-way tie at the top, and then right behind that, you had a very competitive Baylor team, pretty competitive Texas Tech team, and there were 3 10-plus win teams,
Yeah,
right? Like
TCU was 4. Yeah.
BYU, and then the 2 teams that made the title game were all 10-2. So even in like a scenario with extreme parity at the top, we saw 3 double-digit win teams. So I think you can have both. I think you can have a lot of parity in the conference and still have your top 2 or 3 teams emerge as 10, 11 win teams. That last year, I think BYU should have gotten more consideration as an at-large because they beat SMU, the team that got the at-large out of the other non-power 2 conference. So I don't know. I would like to see that just for the health of the conference. You know, that like if Tech goes 10-2 and then doesn't make it on a tiebreaker, I hope that we're in the at-large mix. And there are some schools I would say I don't really want them to be in the at-large mix, TCU, Baylor, but I don't care if Arizona State or Kansas State, BYU gets in at-large. So I think it was kind of a bad look that the conference only had one team make it last year, especially when, in my opinion, our top 3 teams were all about equally good. So I don't know. I'm kind of hopeful we get more than just the conference champion, but you probably need to minimum have 10 regular season wins, if not 11, apparently, to get enough respect to get an at-large bid.
What do you think, BJ?
Yeah, I think you're probably pretty close there. 3 might get you into the title game, but 2 probably should, unless there's a situation where you got 3 2-loss teams, and there's tiebreakers, and somehow you don't get in, which would be unfortunate. But yeah, I think you're pretty close.
So when I was doing all my calculations and picks, I changed it quite a bit, hand up, but my final projections are out on doubletsportsnetwork.com. But there was one scenario where I think I had 4 10-2 teams, like Utah, Texas Tech, Arizona State, and it was either Baylor or Kansas State or Iowa State, one of the 4, of a collection of that 4. And the Big 12 tiebreakers have potential for chaos with that collection of teams because it's when 2 or more teams are tied for the opportunity, you go to heads-up matchups that you've all played. And the 4 teams I had did not have a common opponent amongst the 4.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's 16 teams in a 9-game schedule. So then you go down another rung, and it's combined strength of schedule, and I couldn't calculate that with what I had. And then you go down another one, and you get to coin flip. So there's a chance for some pretty fun chaos in the Big 12. I don't know if it's going to be fun for Joey, but us with a little less skin in the game could be fun down the stretch as we try to figure out who's where and what's what. There was a few calculations websites where you can plug in all the games, but it's impossible because Kansas State and Arizona are also playing in the non-con, and so they tally that as an extra conference game. And so Kansas State was winning all the tiebreakers because they had an extra conference game in there.
If we have a moment,
Some breaking news.
FPI finally has individual game odds. If you want me to rattle some of those off real quick,
Oh yeah.
I'll skip the first 2 weeks because
Why?
Starting Oregon State, it says you've got an 87% chance to win. I think that would usually put you in the neighborhood of 15, 16-point favorite. Let's go to Utah. Basically 50-50. It says you have a 47% chance to win. I think if that line opened today, it'd be Utah -1.
Mm-hmm.
Checks out.
In Houston, 70% chance to win. That probably makes you about a 5.5 point favorite. Hosting Kansas. Oh, this is really interesting. 50-50 on the nose.
Yeah, they like Kansas in the FPI.
I don't agree with that one. I think the odds makers would disagree with that one too. Usually the odds are pretty in line with FPI. Sometimes there's some discrepancies. When you go to Tempe, 33% chance to win. I think that would make you about a 4.5 point dog if that line opened today. Hosting Oklahoma State, 73% chance to win. You're probably about 6.5 point favorite in that one. In Manhattan against Kansas State, 30% chance to win. So probably close, almost a touchdown dog in that one. Hosting BYU, it says you'd be a home underdog with a 44% chance to win. Not sure I'd buy that.
They must not know their quarterback had premarital sex. And
not on BJ Symons night, baby.
I think this one is also kind of weird. UCF, 61% chance to win that game. That would only make you about a maybe 4 point favorite. And I don't know. They're considered, I think, bottom 3 team in the conference. And then when you go to Morgantown, 56% chance to win, you'd be a slight favorite. So I think FPI, at least where my perception is, like if I was, and I'm not an odds maker, obviously, but if I was setting these odds, I'm a lot higher on Texas Tech than FPI seems to be.
Mm-hmm.
So it was 3 underdogs, and then Kansas was 50-50?
Yeah, you had a couple
home dog. Yeah, and a home dog.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But Utah, Arizona
ASU.
State, Kansas State, BYU, so that's 4, yeah. And a 5th, 50-50.
Yeah.
Interesting. The toughest stretch on the schedule, obviously, Arizona State, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, those 2 road games. But if I just asked you for a record in the Arizona State, Kansas State, Utah collection, those 3 road games. So Utah, Arizona State, Kansas State chronologically. What's your record in those 3 games?
2-1.
I think it has to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if it's 1-2, then you got to win the rest and be 7-2 in conference.
Well, and the 2 teams you probably lost to are going to be the ones you'd have to win tiebreakers over, so that's probably not good either.
Yeah.
Here's a take. We've talked about parity and how do you sort it out if there's a bunch of 10-2, 9-3 teams at the end. I don't know if Texas Tech is the most likely team to win the conference. I don't know if they're most likely to win 10 games. I think based on track record and coaching, guys like Kleiman and Whittingham probably have a higher floor than Joey. But I also think if you made me bet my life on one team to go undefeated or win 11-plus games, I think Texas Tech is more likely to have the highest ceiling in the conference. Maybe not the highest floor, maybe not the most stable, the most predictable. If you ran a simulation, they might not win 9+ as many times as Kansas State does. But I think they win all 12 or 11 out of 12 more often than anybody else if you ran 1,000 simulations. Because of the talent discrepancy.
How do y'all feel about Kansas State's new play caller on offense?
I'm interested. For Jabran Bradley.
Huh?
He's going to cook them up for Jabran Bradley.
I think all play callers sort of have a strategy on first down. Like some of them very forward thinking, like they're already setting up second and third down based on like how likely are we to go for it if we're in a 4th and short kind of situation in this field position. But with that play caller in particular, I'm less interested in the first down philosophy, more curious kind of where his head is at on second down on any given series because some teams like to run in that spot, some teams like to throw. But you could also mix in a field goal now and then if you want on 2nd and 4. So I'm curious to see how that plays out in Manhattan this season.
No, in all honesty, if you take the good years at Utah State and that offense and what it looked like, and you don't take the Yost offense from the first 2 years that was implemented, but maybe that they wanted to implement, I think you could do a lot of that at Kansas State and be successful with a defense. They're like 6 deep at tight end. Kansas State is. I think if I had to pick a leading rusher in the Big 12 going into the season, it'd be either Jaheim White at West Virginia or Kansas State's running back. I think highly of some other running backs, but just as a guy, I think he's very good. And then I think maybe Kansas State has the best linebacker room, or at least the top 3 linebacker room. So I don't know. I think Matt Wells can find some success if he doesn't have to do all the game management stuff. I think he's a smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's been recruiting West Texas better than he ever has. Manhattan, so I don't have any ill will toward Matt Wells, but I'm glad he moved on. And
Well,
I think
it's hard to
he can be successful in that system.
it's hard to recruit to Lubbock, as we've seen since Matt Wells left, and Manhattan has always been a top destination for blue chip prospects. So he's kind of in an easier situation recruiting wise now. So good for him.
Well, they have great little league coaches there in Manhattan, I've heard.
Yeah, it's all about the people, Rob.
What do you think, BJ? Do you think he can have success?
We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I never was around him as a play caller, right? So it's kind of it'll be interesting to see. I don't know. We know him as a head coach. Like he went to OU and like helped out as an assistant. He was Utah State head coach prior to Tech. I don't know when has he called plays last? I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe you go all the way back. Maybe he didn't even call plays as a head coach at Utah State. I don't remember that far back.
Right.
I know Yost came with him.
Right. So we'll see.
Hey, BJ, was there ever – y'all obviously ran a lot of plays your senior year. Was there ever a play call that Leach sent in that you were like, what the hell is this guy thinking? Did you remember that like stands out?
No, not from no, there was one situation in particular where we were playing Ole Miss and he sent the punt team off. We were down 2 scores late in the 4th quarter and we all kind of cussed him out on the sideline and he sent us back out there. But it was from like on offense on the field play call. Not really.
That kind of tracks. I mean, I feel like, especially when his offense was at its peak in Lubbock, it just seemed so cohesive that it would actually be kind of surprising to me if he was like sending in play calls where you were like, why are we running that?
Nothing comes to mind, I'll say.
Yeah.
That. A lot of it too was just on the fly. It was 50% of the play calls were just a formation, and the play would be called at the line of scrimmage based on the defense. So, even if there was a play that was, what the hell's going on here with this, it probably would have been audible.
Yeah.
So
we punted on 3rd down one time when I was playing JV football. It was like 3rd and 26, and it was called karate. It was when we like lined up in the shotgun and the quarterback just quick punted it, and coach sent in karate, and we were like, coach, and he's like, karate, just run it, and we're like, okay.
Catch him off guard with no return guy.
So like as soon as we snapped the ball, he like puts his face in his hand and he goes, "It was 3rd down, wasn't it?" And we're like, "Yeah, we tried to tell you." Like it's 3rd and 26. We're probably punting anyway, but we could maybe get some of it back for field position. That was the only one I remember from my high school play. It was a very JV play call, a very Matt Wells play call. So anyway, I didn't know if Leach ever sent something in where you were like, what in the world is this guy thinking right now? Especially because he had that reputation of being so like outside the box and kind of crazy. But like
Catching a pass from Mickey Peters.
Do what?
Catching a pass from Mickey Peters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was planned. Cliff actually limped off the field. So it wasn't like I just came in to run that play. It was supposed to be this it was like a designed It was supposed to be like a designed kind of spectacle where Cliff should have sold it though more. If he would have like stayed down and then like, there would have been like a pause in play where it was like, oh my God, Cliff's down. And then he had to like get, come off the field, and then like the backups in, and you're like expecting him to just hand off right or something, or throw some little quick short pass. But no, they surprised him with the throwback. That was how it was designed. But Cliff, like, just right after the play was over, just kind of limps off the field. Like, we kind of passed each other, and the defense probably didn't even notice. So,
we were doing random Red Raiders today on the radio. And local media superstar David Collier chimed in with Loliki Bongo Wanga. I had never heard that name. But apparently a teammate of yours, BJ. Do you remember Loliki Bongo Wanga?
I do. I went and visited him in the hospital. He tore his Achilles. It was like the loudest pop I'd ever heard in a practice. He was a running back from the Congo. And he had a cousin, Patrice Mwamba Majambwa. Patrice Majamba Mwamba.
And I think he was the president of the Congo or something?
Some type of politician, yeah. And Loliki was a funny guy, man. He was a great guy. I didn't know anything about the Congo, I'll be honest. But he spoke French from Africa and spoke French. Great guy, both of them. And Loliki was a running back. Unfortunately, we had a talented running back, or not, I won't say unfortunately, but unfortunately for Loliki, we had a talented running back room. Loliki was a junior college transfer.
Yeah.
And he was behind both Torian Henderson and Johnny Mack. So it was like hard for him to get on the field. But great guy, Loliki Bongo Wanga. I think he wore number 8.
Yeah, in 2003, the leading rushers, I think, were Torian Henderson, Johnny Mack, Wes Welker, Carlos Francis, Nehemiah Glover, BJ Symons, Loliki Bongo Wanga. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Well, didn't we look up the other day? Torian Henderson had like 120 carries, and he was like the top rock toter. It was like we just obviously didn't run the ball. Like everybody talks about the passing numbers, and so like intuitively we didn't run the ball that much. But then you like look, you're like, our leading rusher had like 10 touches per game.
But he had 90. He had 90 catches though.
Right. Yeah.
And I believe he's like the all-time leader in catches at Tech. As a running back.
Yeah, he was remarkably consistent. If you look at his rushing totals, it was like between 600 and 800 every year. But his yards from scrimmage, I think he finished with 52.99, and it was like way more prolific of a receiver than rusher. I think he has the NCAA record for catches and yards by a running back, which will probably never be broken just based on the volume and being a 4-year starter. Hey, one other question for you, BJ. You mentioned Baron Morton's shoulder last year, and I think what we know now in hindsight, he injured it during the West Virginia game in 2023, played through it that year, and then in the offseason between 23 and 24, they were kind of going back and forth, like, should we bite the bullet and get surgery, or is there another way we can rehab this? They opted not to do surgery. And then when the lights came on and you're doing full live action reps, I think it now in hindsight was sort of revealed that whatever rehab they did wasn't as thorough as surgery would have been, and he was still kind of playing with a lingering injury. And obviously all the reports out of camp for every team this time of year is that everybody's bigger, faster, stronger than they've ever been. It's their best camp ever, but the word is that like he's finally healthy. There's more zip on the ball than the last 2 years. I know your injury was different, but it was still a significant one that I'm sure impacted your, at the very least, comfort level, if not your kind of ability to play at the top of your talent potential. What do you think we can expect in terms of the jump? If he is fully healthy and let's say he was 80 or 85% the last 2 years, how much of a difference does that make for a quarterback to to go from like toughing it out, playing through something that is uncomfortable or even painful versus playing fully healthy?
Yeah, I think so the main thing everybody focuses on the physical. Like for me, it was both physically and mentally draining and debilitating. Like, I was having to put all this time and energy into strengthening my knee all week, and then like it wasn't being talked about in the media. There was no it was kind of being like kept hush hush, which frankly like mentally kind of was very hard to deal with, because like I wanted to be like, hey, like I'm doing the best I can. I can't really play at the level that I want to be able to play at, but I can't say that. So yeah, I think, physically, mentally, there's just a lot of hurdles there when you're dealing with an injury like that. And if he fully is healthy and has both the mental and physical edge, it's probably more than just going from 80% physically to 100% when you factor in the mental aspect. So, yeah, I'm hoping for a big jump. We'll see. Like I said, health matters, and hopefully he can stay healthy. But if truly is, in the past, then feeling really good, then I'm expecting big things.
Yeah, I mean, there was reports like in 2023 that he wasn't taking practice reps because like he needed all week to not throw at all so that his arm could be ready by the following Saturday. And um, I don't know. And then like he said, he hadn't taken a bench press rep in 2 years, which is remarkable to play high level college football and like not be able to work out part of your upper body like that. So, but I hadn't considered the mental part. Like, I'm sure that is frustrating when you're thinking like, I wish I could sort of explain to the haters and all that, like why maybe my play has dropped off a little bit. I
Exactly.
will
Yeah.
say in your case, it was probably not that noticeable because you threw for 5,000 yards and 60 touchdowns anyway. But like, yeah, I'm sure Morton is like watching his game tape and being like, I know I can make that throw if I'm healthy.
Right.
But I'm
Right.
like split second off right now because I can't put any zip on the ball. But we also don't want to just like tell the other team, hey, he's got a weak shoulder. So yeah, I hadn't really considered that, but I'm sure that is a big factor in it too. And I hope that, yeah, the physical health is there, but I hope that his like confidence and edge and all that mentally is there too.
Mm-hmm.
Baron Morton's passing total number, by the way, 27.99 on your local Prize Picks.
I'll take
Like
the over.
season over under.
Yeah,
Or-
season yards 2,799.
Wow.
I think that's strictly a bet on like it may as well be a prop
Healthy.
bet on like will he be healthy this season?
Yeah, that's a bet. Like, does he start more than, I don't know what, 8 games?
Yeah,
Maybe back in your day there, BJ. I don't know if they're slinging it around like that anymore.
you might need 10, but yeah,
BJ had that in 6.
I mean, 300. I mean, yeah, maybe 10 games gets you. I don't know, 8 games at what, 350 gets him there. So
I think Baron Morton has 2 or 3 at 350. Maybe 3. Both West Virginia, both Oklahoma State. He would have had it against North Texas, but they took him out early.
yeah. That's so funny. BJ's over here like, oh, that's like playing 6 quarters against A&M. He can get there.
Most of us talk about playing video games. BJ's like, yeah, back in my day. Throwing 8 touchdowns at 12 o'clock at night against A&M and love it.
On Fox Sports Southwest. I
think
love
it was
those
Fox
broadcasts,
Sports
man.
college football, college sports back then, or whatever
Yeah.
it was.
I
All
love
right,
those.
I don't think who is Texas Tech beating in the Big 12 championship? We'll close on that one. I've got them beating Baylor as a new opponent at the end. Kyle, you're going Baylor too.
Kansas State.
The storylines are going to be crazy in that Baylor game. Lubbock Zone, Sawyer Robertson, Baylor. I was watching 2007 Baylor, Iowa State. It was Zeb Noland and Charlie Brewer squaring off in Matt Rule's first season. And right when I flip it over there, old Joey McGuire's fresh face talking to the tight ends. It was pretty cool. Who's Texas Tech beating in the Big 12 championship, BJ?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a rematch against K-State as well.
There's also a lot of storylines there. If you beat Kansas State Manhattan this year, it'll be the first time since Graham Harrell. If you need another political reference, that's George Bush in the election between John McCain and Barack Obama in 2008. George Bush, his final there a couple of months in office before the inauguration after the 2008 season. So it's been that long since you've won in Manhattan. You beat them a couple times in Lubbock, but you were ahead against Kansas State in the all-time series. And then the last 13 games, you're 2-11.
Yeah, it could be a situation where you get revenge after a loss there, and then play them in a neutral and get a win type of situation. Who do y'all like this week? On a side note, K-State, Iowa State. What's the latest? Kansas State's laying 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got Kansas State getting that one.
Same here.
Everybody,
I would say, I think traditionally I pick correctly in week 0 at a rate of about 15%. So that may make the Cyclones a lock. I never have a read on week 0.
Yeah.
We also have Kansas,
Fresno
State.
Fresno.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, concerns on that one?
No.
Wait, who do you have in Farmington? Kansas State?
Me?
Yeah, did you pick Kansas State too, BJ?
Yeah, I think Kansas State. I don't know. It'd be hard for me to lay -3 with them. I think it'll be a close game.
When I was doing those picks, I had Iowa State originally, but go look at Iowa State's schedule and tell me they can't go undefeated if everything breaks right.
Mm-hmm. That's what I said. They get a lot of value there.
If I couldn't pick Texas Tech, I'd probably pick Iowa State to win the Big 12. I know I didn't put them in there opposite of Texas Tech, but they start slow. They play Iowa. They play Farmageddon in the first 3 weeks. And then, I don't know. I think I had them losing to TCU and Iowa State just because they normally lose to TCU and Cincinnati just because they normally lose why'd they lose that game? Who was that? That's just kind of the history of Iowa State. So,
hey, quick question. Farmageddon is a conference game, right? This isn't like Arizona and K-State?
yes.
Okay. Somebody asked a question in the mailbag that kind of implied it was one of those weird conference opponents, but it was a non-con game. But this is a huge game for conference championship race implications. I view them both as contenders, and before week 1, one of them is going to be 0-1 with a loss to a team that they would probably need a tiebreaker over. So I don't know. It'd be a lot less interesting to me if it was Kansas versus UCF week 0. This is like a huge game. If this was week 8, week 9, it might be game of the week in the Big 12.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty cool, in my opinion.
All right. We did have one mailbag question for BJ, so I'll get that one, and then we'll close it there. This from a Picador, BJ. Oh, my God. Is there a school without any ties to current Big 12 teams or former ties to the conference that you think would be a fun add to the Big 12?
Fun add to the Big 12 without any former ties?
Yeah.
It's a good question. Thinking. Could we pull from one of these conference? I guess we could pull from a current team or.
Yeah, you got a lot of ACC options.
Yeah, like ACC. Yeah, I mean, I don't see us getting a Clemson or an FSU Maybe, I don't know, maybe like a NC State kind of deal. The U, yeah.
That's who I would go with. I just think I just love that 30 for 30.
It would make for a good.
Out the end zone, you dig?
Make for a good road trip. And we already have a team in Florida, right? So why not just go further south?
Oh,
Sure.
BJ and the boys in Miami, South Beach, baby.
I think there was another question for BJ in the mailbag.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that the one you put in?
What?
Oh, what are BJ's thoughts on Kyle's mechanics and ability to throw the pigskin?
Kyle's got a nice arm. I mean, I don't know if I can speak to his mechanics. I mean, they're not like unorthodox or anything, you know. I haven't seen him work the pocket or step up under pressure and deliver a throw with somebody coming down on him. But yeah, I think the size to arm strength ratios is pretty adequate.
You saying I'm like a Tua kind of like small guy, but pretty good arm strength. All things like I don't look like Jamarcus Russell, obviously, but
yeah, like a
Kirk Cousins.
I don't know. Cousins is pretty tall though, right? Kyle, how tall are you?
Oh, I'm like 6 foot even.
So like that means what? 5'11", 5'10"?
No, everybody says that, and it's a shame that 5'11" people lie about it so often that now if you actually are 6 foot, everybody assumes you're 5'11". But anyway,
yeah. So like a smaller framed Drew Brees.
Drew Brees is like 5'9". How am I smaller framed?
No, he's 6 foot, wasn't he?
I don't know.
I think he was rostered at 6 feet, maybe.
He was rostered at 6 feet.
Yeah, well, we'll see. After Drew Brees is, let's say, 15 years past his playing days, we'll see if Drew Brees can still throw it 55 yards at altitude, but still 55 yards. Hey, how about we do this, BJ? Since you haven't seen me work the pocket and like throw on the move, stuff like that. On Hall of Fame weekend, let's both get there Friday, and if you request it, I can't request it because I'm a nobody. But if you request it and be like, hey, can y'all set up some drills for us? Like me and the boys want to, we want to do some pocket drills and we could do like some content and like me and you could face off on like who can throw better rolling to their left and stuff like that.
We'll see what I can do. I might have obligations. I might have some obligations, but
do you have something better to do that weekend when you're being inducted into the Hall of Fame than to screw around with me?
Maybe a Friday afternoon we can get him free.
I think a Thursday something could be more doable, to be honest.
Okay.
Than Friday.
Hey, I'll get there. If it means getting to do some QB drills, I'll be there. So if you can pull some strings, just let me know and I'll give it my best.
See if we can get the indoor for maybe a half hour.
Yeah. I would love. Yeah, I'd love to be thought of as maybe a little more than just a smaller frame Drew Brees. I don't know if I have I don't have Rodgers arm talent, but I don't know. Maybe
are you going to get
Herbert.
him on this thing, or maybe you can shoot some hoops or something? What do you think?
Yeah, we'll do like a free throw contest. Yeah. Shoot some threes. You don't want to see me throw a football.
That's a Plano.
No, so Money was actually. Here's what we got to do, Rob. Money was a lockdown corner at Plano Senior High, and I was a 1-year wonder at slot receiver. So we'll do some one-on-ones. BJ will throw it to me, and we'll see if Money can put the clamps on me or not.
And what does Rob do?
He can snap the ball.
Snap?
I'll work the camera.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a smaller framed Cooper DeJean there. All right.
I think Money's like 6'4". Again, I think he's taller than the player we're comping him to.
We'll cut it here. Thanks, BJ, for joining us. We'll get you back on to talk Big 12 fantasy football. I think the four of us are going to work together in a league in some fashion. We'll have to figure that out in the next week and a half. Otherwise, we'll see you for a bowl pick'em. maybe before, certainly the BYU week. Congratulations on the Hall of Fame, well-deserved records for 20 years. I wish they were still standing. They're certainly still standing in the Power Four. And that's good enough for me, huh?
Yeah, appreciate it as always. Fun.
Hey, we're also going to do during the bye week like a basketball season preview if you want to hop on for that.
What BJ stat days away are we today from basketball season?
Yeah, we are passing attempts in the Oklahoma State game, your career high, which was 67 passing attempts, and passing touchdowns in the A&M game, which was 8. So 75 days out from college hoops.
Let's go.
All right. Thanks, BJ.
All right, y'all. See ya.
See you.
Thanks, BJ.
Later.